Goes to the
Oh
record in
boy!
here.
Oh boy!
I'm so excited.
Boy! All right, you are good to go.
Hey, welcome to Tales from the Barside, everyone. Another week is upon us. I'm your host, Remy, along with my lovely co-host, Lauren.
Hi!
Hi, and we've got a guest today. Lindsay, is your sound on? I can't hear you, darling.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, it's
I can
on.
hear you now.
Okay.
Hooray, welcome,
Hi.
Linz. Welcome back to Tales from the Barside.
Thank you for
Always
having
a pleasure
me.
to have you. This week, we're going to be super depressing and talk about the decimation of the bar industry and how I just think that everywhere is going to follow suit with Florida and Texas. So bars are going to start closing back up all across the United States. And everybody who's going out now and getting their fun in, like, I get it.
I will so be right back for this conversation as soon as I make a drink.
You go make yourself a drink. Everybody get yourself a drink. Let's slow down. Let's pump the brakes.
Y'all
here
need drinks.
Like, Jesus, Remy, you didn't even give us a chance to get a cold beverage. Okay, now we're ready. Yeah, it's sad. It's really depressing because there's nothing we can do about it. It's not our fault. COVID is here, and you can't stop it unless you don't go out. And so I'll start it off with a tale from last night. A friend of mine was having her last shift at a bar. She's quitting a certain bar and moving on to greener pastures. And like, she's been there a really long time, and I love her to death. And she's one of the main reasons that I go to this place. She's just the sweetest girl and such a good bartender and such a good friend. And I was like, man, I haven't been going out. I think I've been out once or twice since we've opened back up. I'm not going to miss CJ's last night, at this place.
Yeah, sure.
So I did. So I showed up, and, first of all, there's people outside hanging out, and, like, they all want to hug. And, I should have just been like,
how many people were wearing masks?
well, I'll get there.
Okay.
Trust me. First of all, like, all these people that I haven't seen in 6 months, 7 months, couple of months, whatever, they all want to hug, and kicking myself in the ass today because thinking back on it, I'm like, I shouldn't have. But, it's just a natural thing to hug your friends. It's part of who I am. It's part of who most of us are. So I give a bunch of people a hug. I go inside. I've got my mask on. All the bartenders have their masks on. None of the customers have masks on. And, you're sitting at a bar, you're drinking, so you don't have to wear the mask if you're sitting down and in your place and whatever. But there's an old guy, like, 10 feet away from me, coughing every couple
Sitting
minutes.
next to you, making love to his bottle, his tonic and gin.
Exactly.
A real Billy Joel song.
And then somebody else is telling me a story, and they're like, hanging on my shoulder, basically. It's like, this is not 6 feet. This is not 6 inches. This is too much. And I just felt gross the whole time I was there. And it was so good to see my friend and do a shot with her. And then I was like, I'm out. Her shift ended early. I'm like, I got to get out of here, guys. And they're like, no, totally, we get it. We understand. And I'm just like, I really kind of feel bad about going out last night. I hope to God I didn't catch it. Nobody else caught it, where we were. But, like, if I did, it's 100% my fault because I made the choice to hug people. I made the choice to be in a public place where not everybody was masked up. Like, if I was at the grocery store, I'd be so pissed about all the people not wearing masks. Because it's a bar, it's okay. It's not. It really is.
Right.
All right.
Well, I mean, I was talking to the resident voice of doom and gloom, Fred Brown, our infectious disease guy.
Yeah.
Who is not going to be on our show tonight because I can't deal with staying up until 3 a.m. listening to freaked out people again right now. But I mean, basically, the one thing he said, because he shot me his, like, updated PowerPoint and all that stuff that he's got. And yeah, expect a lot of bad news over the next 2 weeks is what that basically boils down to. Like, this thing at Harper's that now has 87 cases traced back to it.
Yeah.
That's the tip.
Well, yeah. And then those kids, I read that whole story in the Free Press about it. Those kids that went back from that bar to Grosse Pointe and went to bonfires and house parties and then just kept spreading it. And
they didn't know. They
We've had
didn't know. None of them knew that they were sick. Well, the one kid who had the party knew he was sick, and that was stupid. Went ahead and kept the party going anyways, even though he was not feeling good at his own party. And sure enough, one day later, he had it, and then a bunch of other people had it, and we're spreading it to other people who didn't even know him. That's how it works. You're going to, if you catch COVID, you're going to get it from somebody you know. You're not going to get it from the guy at the grocery store that you walked past for 30 seconds.
This is not a stranger danger situation.
Right. No, you're going to get it from somebody who you're like, oh my God, it's my friend. They're fine. They're healthy. You've been safe. You've been protecting yourself. I trust you. And you give them a hug. And then the next thing you know, you've both got COVID, and that's how this thing works. You know?
Honestly, the stat that he threw at me earlier today that kind of tweaked me out is they did a statistical analysis, and 75% of people that went into an ER or a hospital for non-COVID related symptoms, like they were going in for like, whether it's like a gunshot wound in the ER or like, they were going in for like a voluntary surgery, whatever, 75% tested positive.
Oh my God. That's wild.
Yeah. So many people have it and are asymptomatic and spread it. And, they're talking, the latest I read was a new strain that's like even more spreadable, but the symptoms are the same kind of thing. It's like, it's COVID, but it's a different strain of it. But it's like this one super amplifies how it spreads. That's what this virus is doing. It's learning how to adapt to us, and it's not necessarily getting worse as far as the reactions to it. It's just finding a way to spread faster.
Did you watch any of the super creepy like hardcore science videos of like the close-ups of a coronavirus cell and how it spreads out its little tentacles to invade other cells? It's like the creepiest sci-fi movie ever, and you're like, and that's what's going on in people's bodies. Check, please. I'm out.
No, but I did like did you guys see the meme of some like Ivy League scientist girl was like coughing in a petri dish?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
With a mask.
Oh yeah.
And it was like,
this
is you coughing with a mask on and like how much it protects. This is you sneezing with a mask on and how much it protects versus no mask at all. And it's like, that is why you wear a fucking mask. Like, duh. Like, I don't understand the ignorance and you're stepping on my rights. Like,
yeah, I don't get it either.
You're helping other people. You're helping yourself. You're protecting your kids. You're protecting the people you love at home. I don't understand.
Welcome to America. We're number one in narcissism.
Well, and so that's the issue is I completely understand it because America is all about the me, not the we. Like that's
individualism.
It's
yeah.
And that's the thing is that we've actually had some places that have reported that they've had COVID positive customers or staff. So like Grey Ghost was one of them, and Imperial, and another bar in Grosse Pointe. And it's like this stuff is something that we should be taking seriously. And I feel like I keep on like talking to other people who work in the service industry, and some of them are just like, you're gonna get it. Like everyone's gonna get it. So like we shouldn't shut back down, and we should continue doing everything the way that we are, and like go back to regular life because everyone's gonna get it at some point.
But you don't know like how bad you're gonna get it. Like I've seen instances where 24-year-olds who are healthy as can be are on ventilators for 3 weeks. You don't know how you're gonna react to it.
Right.
I saw recently Mexican Fiesta in Dearborn just posted a thing that they were going back to curbside pickup only because they didn't feel that enough of the patrons were respecting the mask and the social distancing, and they just didn't feel it was safe for their staff. And I'm like, good for you. Like, we need more restaurants that are doing that. Like, I know it sucks, your business is taking a hit, but you're showing that you care about people over that.
So like the Imperial situation in particular, I raised a question because that situation, they said they got an anonymous phone call from someone that said they were a customer there a few days earlier and they tested positive. So my question is that the new 1-star Yelp review? Is that the is that the new swatting where you make that phone call to a business and they basically have to shut down, go through a deep clean, incur all the additional expense and all that stuff just to be a dick?
I mean, you can do that.
I mean, you created and hosted Worst Meatball Sandwich Ever, the 1-star Yelp review podcast. So you know how low and awful people can be.
Yeah.
You know, it's 100% within the realm of possibility. I applaud Mexican Fiesta. I love that restaurant anyways. They're so good. It's really, really tasty food. But like, good for them.
I know. I'm like, I'm going to go pick up curbside from them once a week now because
for sure.
Good for them.
Anybody who's doing the right thing out there, support them, and stop going to all the major giant conglomerate chains anyways. For God's sakes, nobody needs to eat Chick-fil-A. Stop it.
Do you really need
that line?
Do you really need mozzarella sticks that badly? Do you?
People are so, they're like sheep. I don't know. I'm never going to taste their chicken sandwich because I don't like my chicken sandwiches to taste like homophobia. So they're not getting $1 of mine ever. That's just my stance on it. But like, even if it was the best chicken sandwich in the whole wide world, I'm not sitting in line in my car for 3 hours.
And they're not. Like, I've never understood that. Like, it's not that good of a sandwich. Like the one in Novi opened up and people were lined up on my, I'm like we did the math on our show last week. You literally could have left the one in Novi, driven to the one in Somerset Mall, gone in, got your food, sat down, eaten it, and driven home, and you still would have been standing outside had you stayed in Novi.
Dave, I thought you were going to say you could drive to the one in Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wow, now that is a statistic.
What you need to do is drive to church and pray to Jesus and ask him to forgive you for supporting a hateful company like that. Boom. Chick-fil-A.
So,
that's what you get.
With the whole COVID thing, like I had been contacted by my boss today and he was talking about, possibly opening up because other nightclubs near us or like in the same, general vicinity have been opening. Yep. And I was just like, you really don't think that we're going to get shut down again? Because I see all this stuff that's happening and like, but people are saying like that we won't, that no one's going to shut us down, that it's just got to run its course. And I'm just like, how heartless can people... I mean,
when you look at states with super conservative Republican governors like Florida and Texas, and they're shutting it down now, we're gonna shut it down.
Oh, mom's gonna ground us again. Mom's gonna get angry,
right?
Because hey, she told us what to do, and she told us where the boundaries were, and we've been assholes, and we have not.
Big Gretch is gonna be like, "This is why you can't have nice things."
But listen, I am curious how some of these nightclubs and stuff are open, because I was looking through and I saw that there was like a no indoor dancing. So it's like you can't have entertainment. You can't have like indoor, like no dance floors.
Don't make me remake Footloose.
Well, yeah, that's actually a really great
But
idea.
I mean, how are they opening and like being able to be open?
Poison bubbles.
That are like,
they're just doing whatever the hell they want because nobody's stopping them. Nobody's coming in to enforce these policies. No, there's no COVID cops coming by and saying it puts the mask on its face or it gets the lockdown again.
I actually saw like in one state. Did you guys see this one state where the cops were like, we were not going to wear masks and we refused to like enforce any mask use. It was like Arizona or something like that.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's dumb as fuck.
That's one of my favorite.
You can do as a consumer is opt not to spend your money there.
One of my favorite Public Enemy songs of all time has got to be "By the Time I Get to Arizona." I mean, like, those guys over 20 years ago were talking about how racist that state is, and it's like, yep.
Hey, I've told the story about me getting bounced from high school because for organizing a sit-in. Because at the time, New Hampshire was one of two states, Arizona being the other, that didn't recognize MLK Jr.'s birthday as a holiday. And Arizona caved to get the Super Bowl. That's literally the only reason why they did it.
Just to get the Super Bowl.
And New Hampshire realizes they will never get a Super Bowl, and so they're just still out there. I mean, that's just them.
New Hampshire?
Yeah.
New Hampshire is like liberal, isn't it?
You're thinking of Vermont, which
they're right next to each other, so that's why I thought they're like Vermont, one and the same.
Vermont, super hippy dippy. New Hampshire, very, very, very old guard, Wonder Bread.
Really?
How the hell did I make it out of there without killing anyone?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
People who
yeah.
people
I
who
didn't know that
vacation
about
in the
New Hampshire.
Hamptons and Martha's Vineyard, you know.
I assumed like all the East Coast was like super liberal.
No. People who lose track of how many yachts they have. Where did I park?
There's a reason why they call this the New England lockjaw. It's people that talk like this. Buffy, they use summer as a verb. We're going to summer
We're gonna go
on the
summer.
Hamptons. We're going to we're going. This is how we talk.
Is that New Hampshire? Is New Hampshire like that? I know nothing about New Hampshire.
That's all of New England. It's the New England lockjaw. And they give their houses names. We're going to summer at Ravensworth. We're going to. That's what we're doing. Yes, dear.
Ravensworth.
Well, you know, there's plenty of places like that here too. The funniest thing about that, the Grosse Pointe article was somebody like, you know, you think that this can't hit you? This hit an affluent neighborhood too, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh no! My
like a virus can't hit an affluent neighborhood.
No, my favorite part of that article was somebody was actually quoted as saying, you know, if only there's something that we could have done to keep this from happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
nope, nothing comes to mind.
Let me
at all.
Count the ways.
You could have not gone to the goddamn bar that was packed with people. 2, you could have stayed 6 feet away from each other. 3, you could have worn a goddamn mask. 4, you could have not gone to another party.
Yeah.
How about you could have raised your entitled little brats a little bit better to realize that the world does not revolve around them and their stupid fucking college parties.
And I'm not going to disagree with like their stupid fucking brats, but I think, and I'm going to sound like boomer alert when I say this, but I work with teenagers and they have this like immortality. Like it's not going to happen to me. It's not, you know, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to live forever. And you know, I remember that. I remember being that way.
Oh, me too.
I used to be able to ride my bike on top of a 10-foot wall that was like 6 inches wide until some jackass science teacher told me about gravity. I mean, like that was.
The dumb stuff.
But like, I remember sympathizing, like at the beginning of this quarantine, like sympathizing with those teenagers. Like, oh my God, can you imagine being a fucking teenager in quarantine, like with your parents? I would have been sneaking out. I would have been breaking all the rules. I would have been like, F this, F the house I live in. Like, I need to get out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well,
like we don't have school. Cool. But everything else, my social life is nothing, which that's all that matters when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
Or at least if you were me as a teenager.
College kids too. I get it. It's like the bars finally open back up. What's the first thing they do? Let's go to our favorite bar in East Lansing. It's a big nightclub. And you know, like I get it, man. I get it. Like I probably would have been there too had I been their age.
That's why we need to go back to just no bars open, because we're always gonna have those people that
here's what you need. You need no bars open that anyone under the age of about 35 wants to go to.
Right.
Because
35. Okay, 30.
No, here's why. Because all of the dive bars that I go to, typically 35, 40 and up, and there's usually only like maybe 4 or 5 people in them. And we all just kind of like, and everybody sits far apart from each other, but we're all like still yagging. Well, I mean, I shouldn't like, because I've gone out once since this whole thing, you know, and I made my trip to Temple Bar and I made my trip to Whiskey in the Jar. But like those two, like everybody was spread out, everybody, you know, and like, you know, we would talk to each other from across the room and everything was good. But then like everything I see about every other bar that's, you know, no matter where it is that's open, that's like, you know, for that 20 to 30 crowd is just, ugh.
Dave, you just reminded me. Can we talk about Jobby Newer?
I was going to say Jobby Nooner.
Yeah.
Jobby Nooner was like the dumbest shit I've ever seen. As soon as I like woke up, there was like sky footage of it.
That's cool. That's cool.
What kind of super chlamydia, COVID, herpes,
syphilis, everything
is coming out of that environment now. Like that's what scares me.
I posted an article. It was like Fox 2 News had a picture of it, and they're partying on the back of their boat with a bunch of Trump flags, and I was like, this is exactly what I would expect to see. Exactly. Like you're living up to it 100%.
No, so like my friend with benefits went to it, so now I don't have a friend with benefits anymore.
No,
Like,
your
awesome.
friend's got a quarantine for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not.
At least.
Like, I'm not even. You're not even getting a text message.
As
Like,
I said,
all right.
Yeah.
I'd give her 3 weeks and then probably a Lysol dip. Just
Lysol.
Hold her by the ankle.
And I want to see some test papers too. I want to see that you went to the doctor.
And then we just have to talk about the fact that you're that stupid.
Right.
I mean,
Like,
he's
why
okay
would
with
you
that.
even go to something like that?
He's not looking
Hey, it's
for
just friends with benefits. He's not trying to like.
he's
This
not
isn't
looking
like a
for deep,
lifelong partner.
yeah, he's not looking for deep,
Right.
meaningful conversations from a friends with benefits.
No.
That's not what that is. Yeah.
Does that feel good? Is about the depth of our conversation.
Jesus.
Nothing to say there. All right.
No,
Moving on.
I wouldn't go to. I've never been to Jobby Nooner. I wouldn't go in a year that wasn't COVID. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go if there wasn't a pandemic
I
going
also
on.
would not go.
Way too many drunk people peeing in
went.
the water.
One of my friends on
Once.
Facebook was like, "You're just jealous nobody invited you," and I was like, "I don't want to be invited." And
Well,
like,
Been invited, have
Also-
not gone.
No, like,
Hi,
Right.
would you like to come hang out in this germy, filthy cesspool? Why
Right.
not?
boy, would I?
First of all, I'm not
Would-
dipping
would
my
I?
toes in Lake St. Clair. Sorry, I don't care. Like I never swim in
No.
that place.
That's like the Simpsons,
Not
like
ever.
the three-eyed, little fish.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
what I expect to see.
Well, when all of the beaches there get closed down from E. coli contamination,
Yeah.
and I
Nobody's
believe
pooping in the water.
and we all know what
Yeah.
E. coli contamination is.
Sorry, I'll just spell it out for you.
A couple of years ago, there was an apartment complex that had been dumping its raw sewage into Lake St. Clair
I
for
remember
10
that.
years.
I remember that.
10 years. They just completely we'll just make it run
That's
right
just,
into
that's
Lake
just
St.
where
Clair.
the pipe went.
It's a lake. Yep.
It's
So
like
no wonder the whole lake is polluted.
Burka.
totally
No,
off the
no.
cuff, but Dave Matthews Band, do you remember when his tour bus dumped the sewage into the Chicago River?
Yeah.
I was living in Chicago at the time. Just dumped
boy.
all of the sewage of the tour bus into the
No,
Chicago
I did
River.
not hear about that.
So
Gross.
gross. So gross.
Dave,
Dave
Matthews
Matthews
with
did
people.
that?
Chicago.
I mean, but keep in mind, this is also the city that lights that river on fire.
No, turns it green, dumps all the dyes into it to make it green.
They've lit it on fire before, and they've turned
yeah.
it green. I mean, it's.
Hey, I'm with you on Chicago.
At least it's a moving
Chicago's
body of water. You know, like the river
Yeah,
is
moving
running,
right
so it's
into Lake Michigan.
yeah.
Moving into all of our clean drinking water. Water is currency. Water
Hooray
is
for
currency.
water treatment plants.
If COVID-19 wasn't man-made, like I believe it is, or at least partially
God.
man-made.
Shut up,
it would-
Remy. You
it
do
would
not
be-
believe that.
Oh yeah, it is. 100%.
Oh my God. Get off the YouTube conspiracy videos.
It's not a conspiracy. It is 100%
Oh,
partially
dude.
man-made.
I
Anyways,
can't with.
Dave,
all right,
mute her
just
real
move
quick.
on from this because that is not
Because I'm right. Yeah,
at
it is.
all the case.
Okay.
Holy shit. SARS has existed for a long time.
Okay, so this
It's SARS.
this will be a conversation we can have at around 1 a.m. after
Oh
many
my
more
Exactly.
God.
drinks.
Let's not go there right now. The point is,
Jesus.
it's Mother Nature's way of being like, you've polluted my waters, you've polluted, the air.
But you said it's man-made, so
killing
it's
the
not Mother
planet.
Nature. So which is it? Mother Nature or man-made?
He said
Shut the fuck
partially.
up, Lindsay.
He said partially.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Quit arguing with me while I'm trying to make a point.
All right, I'll be right back.
Dave's
How
coming
dare
back.
you make a point that is counter to my
That
point?
is arguable.
Exactly. I know everything. Don't you know this? Let's do a shot.
Oh my God.
We're all gonna die. That's the whole point.
Listen,
we're going to
that's
anyway.
the thing though. Okay, so I want to talk about like the possible shutdown again because I
Yeah.
think it will happen. But a lot of people are saying that it won't, or that if it does, it's going to be like such an issue through like Whitmer that she's going to be sued and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't understand all that. Why are we allowing these places to be open that we see are continuing to spread this more and more and more?
I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, I think she's just waiting for like it to hit a specific number where she feels like it's gonna start overwhelming the healthcare system again. That's the only thing I can think of.
Right, which it will though.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
she's already made that statement today that she's already said like the phase 5 that she had planned to open July 5th. Like she was opening a bunch more stuff on July 5th. She already said like it looks like that's not going to happen.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for like the regression part of it, and I think that's
Right.
going to need to be like a lot more.
Because
Well,
I think
there's
that's exactly what's going to happen is that we're going to
Yeah.
start closing things back down systematically, and like bars and restaurants. I'm sorry, like guys, all my friends that are in the bar industry and everything, believe me, I want to work. Believe me,
Yeah.
I'm not excited for, you know, the end of July when I'm not getting shit anymore and we might be shut down for months again.
Oh, that's got to change too.
I'm not excited about that. Believe me, I want to go back to work. I miss my friends. I miss my family. I want to see people. I want to go out and hang out. But holy shit, I'm not ready to go back and expose my friends and family, the people that I love, to something like that. And I know that the economy is like struggling and everything, but we'll fucking get through it. Like we will. It's got to happen. We can't just it's got to happen. But I can't stay open. I don't think that that's wise at all.
No, I don't think we're going to. And I think you're going to see huge waves of backlash from people who are going to, like, you thought the protests in Lansing were bad before. They're going to start getting ugly. They're going to start getting violent. They're going to somebody's going to get shot because there's going to be one side against the other. Like, it's going to turn into some pretty chaotic, nasty stuff coming up real soon because they're going to have to shut down. They're not going to have any choice. And a bunch of people don't agree with that. They don't think, there's people out there that don't think we should have shut down in the first place. They thought that we should have just let it run its course or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And more people are just going to, you don't see my point of view, so I'm going to get violent.
They're just like, if you're scared, if you think that you're going to get it, or if you have pre-existing things, then stay home. And I'm like, it's not that easy. For example, I've been home. I'm not doing anything. The only person's house I've gone over is my boyfriend's and the Lindsays. I haven't gone anywhere else. I'm not doing anything else. I've been with people that I know are also staying home.
Yep.
However, I have a roommate that goes out every night, bar hops, goes around doing whatever. And then, and I trust him. I know that he is, wearing masks and doing whatever. And he's, I can't keep him home. But if he comes home and he was exposed, it's like I went out too.
Yeah.
Like I should have just been going out the entire time.
Exactly.
And it's like, I do worry about that stuff and everything. And it's like, listen, I think that he'll get over it. I think I'd get over it. I think my other roommate would get over it, but my dad probably wouldn't. And I would die if I was the reason why my dad or my grandma or my mom or anybody got sick. And even if they pulled through it, if it was just something that was a terrible experience for them, I would feel terrible if I did that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Me too. I don't want to get this, and I don't want to pass it to anybody, and I don't want to be responsible for spreading it. You still have to live your life, but after last night, I'm making the choice of I'm not going out to any more bars. I'm not no, sorry. And just keep it at a minimum. Keep things outdoor. Luckily, it's summertime now, so you can go and be outside somewhere in somebody's backyard and stay 8-10 feet away and be good and be safe. It's like I went to my buddy's pool yesterday and we were staying, we didn't have to sit close to each other or anything like that, so we were all good. But not too many people. Well, why'd you mute yourself now, Lindsay? I didn't really mean for you to shut the fuck up.
No. I have my dogs are barking in the background because I'm sitting outside. I know, right? That's what I'm waiting for them to do. Did you guys see the meme that was like, for all of you that have been wearing masks and social distancing, it's exactly like college when you're in a group project and you've been doing your part, but the rest of the group hasn't been doing theirs. That is the perfect analogy. Like, we're all doing our part, but the one person can fuck it up. The one person can, ruin it all for everybody.
That's how it's gonna go. And well, you look at the spike in cases in Florida. I know a couple of people that went to Florida for vacation.
Huge spikes in cases,
huge spikes in Florida, and then you went to vacation there, and it's like, how safe were you? Doesn't matter. Even if you were super safe, you could still get it. It's scary, man. It's really scary. Europe, when they open back up, is not going to let any Americans in. Canada.
No, they already did. They already said Americans are banned.
Yeah. No, same thing with Canada. My aunt has dual residency. She's got a cottage up in Canada, and she can't go to visit her cottage this summer because of it. She's bummed about it. But what are you going to do? It's like, nope, sorry, we don't trust you down there in America. We're not letting you in.
Well, because we're not doing any of the things that anybody is recommending for us.
Right.
Did you know, and other places that are doing well, I wouldn't want to fuck it up just because we're letting Americans come in here.
Flattened the curve, and ours went down and then right back up.
Jon Stewart on Stephen Colbert, he did this whole thing about the 1918 pandemic, and he was talking about how during that pandemic, they had the same guidelines during the first wave. Wear a face mask, socially distance, stay at home when you can. And there was that same group that was like, we're not doing any of it. You're impeding on our rights. We're not going to wear a mask. We're not going to do all of that. Yeah. And their second wave hit way worse, way more deaths, way more people sick. And he's like, we are literally following in the steps of history. Nobody learned anything.
No, it's 100 years ago, and we still haven't learned it.
Yeah, we still haven't learned our lesson.
Yeah, the only thing is that was a flu, and this is COVID, and it's something different.
Well,
partially man-made.
And shut up. Well, and COVID actually is it's through aerosol. It's through breathing it in. It's even scarier than the flu in my to me, because you can just breathe it in. It's not like you touch a surface, you forget to wash your hands. Right. It's more than that. It's breathing it in, and then the long lasting damage that they're seeing that it has on people. Yep. It's not just a lung thing. People are walking out with heart issues, blood clotting issues, pancreas issues. They're walking out with all of these other issues on top of it. I'm like, it's not just a simple flu. Not just this, you get it and you're all good,
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. I don't know. Friends that are that work in the hospitals and stuff, and they're telling us everything, and I can literally tell my friends, I talked to somebody who is straight up working on the COVID floors, is actually seeing everything that's happening, and they're just it's a hoax. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's just what are you fucking talking about?
Why would they be risking their lives for a hoax?
Right. Right. Why? Why would anybody do that?
Why would any of it? There's so much stuff that goes on in this country that just makes you shake your head and roll your eyes and go, we're just too dumb to survive. Is that it?
That's the thing for me is I just see the people keeping the masses dumb, keeping the masses uneducated.
Or what about places that are stopping indoor service just because people are being so rude about having to wear
They have no care for another person, which it all goes back to me and my life and what I'm going to do, that individualism, that capitalism.
My friend Bree, we'll have her on one time. She works on Mondays, but if we shut down again, we'll have her on, I promise. But she was telling me about how people are just literally fighting with her, that they have to put up signs every day saying, brand new signs saying you have to wear a mask, and they're being ripped down within, minutes of the place being open and getting in your face. And she was like, it's just exhausting having to constantly fight with people about it. And I'm just that's wild. The fact that you can't be if I can tell you no shirt, no shoes, no service, I can tell you no mask, no service too. I'm putting my staff at risk so you can come in and have a sandwich inside of the shop instead of out.
Did y'all see that woman cough on the baby in California?
Oh God, no! I would lose my mind. I can't watch shit like that. I can't because I want to crawl through the screen and choke them. If I see somebody in public doing that, and I'm a very peaceful person and I don't like violence, but if I see somebody do something that outrageous, you're just going to have to pull me off of their bloody mess of a body, because I will go absolutely insane on. I will lose it and just start pummeling somebody if I see them acting up. Or the old man trying to get into Costco or something, like he's trying to go to a grocery store, and the
Costco.
worker comes.
It probably was a Costco.
Well, the worker comes running down and is like, "Sir, you cannot go in without a mask," and tries to get in his way and stop him, and he starts struggling and fighting with this guy. I would have grabbed him by the back of his shirt and flung him to the ground and been like, "Who the fuck do you think you are? This person's doing their job. You can't go shopping without a mask. Get over it. And if you try to fight him to get into the store, I'll beat your ass and keep you out of the store so he doesn't lose his job." Fuck you.
So I'm sorry I ran away for a sec, but my delivery from Buffalo Wild Wings apparently got stuck at the Oak Park FedEx and then finally got here. So I had to scarf down some quick. Did you guys talk about those stupid little cards that people are printing up?
Oh,
that's a good one.
Exemption, the mask exemption.
card.
I'm exempt from wearing a mask.
That's stupid. First of all, if you can go online and print something off, it's probably not legit. Okay.
Right. Hey, I don't
I'm
like having a therapy
for
animal.
free.
I'm an ordained minister, and I printed off my certificate.
Oh my, twice. I used 2 separate emails.
I was in a liquor store the other day, right around. I'm in Northville right now, right around here. I was in a liquor store, minding my own business with my mask on, picking out my beer. This guy walks in with a mask, and he sees the workers behind the counter wearing no mask. And he made a scene. He was like, "I will not be giving my business to anybody who's not wearing a mask. You have to be wearing a mask. It's state law. You need to be wearing a mask." He was yelling it through the whole store.
Yeah.
And the worker was like, "Well, I have a breathing problem." And he was like, "What's your breathing problem?" And she was like, "That's none of your business." And I was just like sitting there like, like I should get out my phone.
My breathing problem is that I'm allergic to smelling your bullshit. That's
But I mean, and then I felt bad. I'm like, he's right. Like, I'm patronizing a business that doesn't give a shit about me, because wearing a mask is more for the other person than it is for you. Right. So I shouldn't even be shopping here.
But question for you though. So like, I know there are 2 liquor stores right by me that I hit really that are close by. That I'm on a first name basis with everyone there with, go figure.
Yeah.
And the one they've got basically they're kind of like Temple Bar is now, where they've got plexiglass from like counter to ceiling, with like a cutout that they can slide your like.
Yeah, they had no plexiglass.
Okay, so like then I give them no pass, because like honestly, if I see somebody behind the plexiglass without a mask, I'm a little less.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm a little less bitchy about that.
Yeah, no, there was no plexiglass. There was nothing, and their workers were all over the store restocking, doing everything else, and no masks on any of them.
You need to find a new liquor store, most definitely.
Yeah, no, and I do.
Well, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like it's because it's not the easiest thing to do. So like, what was it? You know, a week and a half ago when I went down to Detroit Shipping Company to put the TV and the TV stand together and all that stuff, and even just trying to be like the good concerned citizen while I didn't have my mask on when I was getting everything out of my car and loading it on, you know, carrying it over and putting it on the cart on the sidewalk. But then just trying to be the good concerned citizen and like throwing it over, like, so after I've been lifting stuff and I'm breathing a little heavier, but then trying to wheel it through the building with that thing on, as hot as it was outside and all that kind of stuff. It's not comfortable, and it's not.
Oh, not at all.
It sucks. But then the flip side is once I was upstairs by myself again, because it was just me in the studio. Okay, mask isn't on again because I'm not
right. Yeah. Like, how long, you know, you really don't have to wear it that long. I did, so I produce podcasts, and my hosts have been coming back into the studio, and I've got it sanitized for them every time, but I'm like, no, we got to wear masks. Like, we're in a very small confined room. There's 3 of us. Like, I don't want to give it to you. You don't want to give it to me. We're going to wear masks. If you want to come in and do it, that's how we're doing it, right? And it's uncomfortable, you know? It's like you try and do a hour-long podcast with a mask on and talking into a microphone, but it's worth it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a little bit of uncomfortability, and it does, like, you know, I get how people say, oh, it affects my breathing, because it makes you feel weird. Like, you're breathing into this mask and it doesn't feel normal or anything like that.
Right.
Doctors have proven
warm
that
air that you're breathing. Yeah. Hopefully you brush your teeth before you put it on.
You do not. You're not going to suffer from hypoxia. You're not gonna. Yeah.
You're not going to pass out, most likely, and stuff like that.
And that's the thing, is some of the people that are like working in hospitals are wearing multiple masks.
And 95 masks which are, have you tried on an N95? It is like twice, it's like 3 times as thick as a normal mask. It is so hard to breathe in. It is so hot, so uncomfortable. That's what they're wearing in hospitals. So feel bad for those nurses that are wearing those all shift, and understand, okay, this is why we need to social distance, so we don't have to make our nurses do this all day long. Like, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Shots up for the nurses.
Don't be selfish.
All the people on the front line.
I didn't make a shot. Boom.
I didn't make a shot either. I've got wine. Wine up for nurses.
But
I've got Canadian Pilsner and American whiskey.
So I'm a teacher, and I'm closing on a house, and I went into my house today for the final closing, and I had to be wearing my mask because my realtor was there. Wearing my mask, and today, almost 90 degrees.
Oh yeah.
The AC wasn't on in the house because nobody's living in there. We were just walking through real quick, making sure like everything looked legit. And I get outside, and I was only in there for 20 minutes, and I was like, there is no way I can work an entire shift with a mask on. Like, I feel so bad for like the bartenders, the teachers, everybody else that has to work an entire shift with like very little ventilation, very little AC happening with a mask on, because it's miserable. And those were just like the flimsy masks.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I know people who work at an auto plant that opened back up, and that's not air conditioned. It's hot, and they're wearing a mask and glasses, trying to wear a mask and glasses in heat.
Oh, your glasses fog up. It's awful.
Obnoxious. So suck it up when you go out, folks. Like, if you got to go to a grocery store or a bar or a restaurant, wear your mask as often as possible. Just do it. Like, it's not that hard.
Wear your freaking mask and
just wear the damn mask. The most telling argument that I heard, and I don't know if it's 100%
the Mandalorian,
true, but it was. I still haven't watched that, by the way. Was that if we had been wearing masks since this whole thing broke out back in late January, early February, if we would have just done that one simple thing, if all Americans would have worn cloth masks everywhere they went, we would already be done with this. It would already be like, we snuffed it out, it's good, or it's like contained that we're
like
fine.
New Zealand?
Because
that's all we had to do.
And Italy and almost all of Europe and everywhere except here.
Like it wouldn't have even exploded. It wouldn't have even exploded in the first place. If when we first got wind of it, we were like, all right, everybody just mask the fuck up. Like everybody. If like 90% of the people would have done it, we would already be through this.
Well,
there would have been no economic
leader that doesn't model wearing it, and I'm sorry, but that is the thing. Model wearing your mask.
I'm
Show
not
your
sorry.
people that follow you
that
they need to wear a mask. And not only that, but there's also like this masculinity thing, I think, with wearing a mask. Like, you're less masculine because you're scared of a virus. You can't see a virus. So
I'm sorry.
You can't roundhouse kick it to the face. So why are you scared of it?
So my favorite meme that I shared recently was like, can somebody please just print the Punisher symbol on a mask so that all the dipshits will start wearing them?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the one I love is that if you don't wear a mask, all the new facial recognition technology that's been deployed
by Bill Gates for the vaccines
can see your face, and then they know where to come get your guns. So you better wear a mask.
Or they'll come vaccinate you.
Whatever it'll do to get those people on board, to get everybody on board. No, we can still do it if 90% of America just decides to go, okay, yeah, fuck it, let's wear the mask. Like, it'll go away.
I know, and I saw another meme that was like, it was like, you mean to tell me I can wear a mask in a grocery store, sunglasses, and a hat, and people are complaining about this because nobody can recognize me? Like, why would you care that people could not recognize?
Well, that's the thing too, is that there's a liquor store that's near me that started closing down really early, and I went in and I was like, hey, like, are you guys closing early because of like COVID hours, or are you just like closing early because you don't want to be open anymore? Like, people not coming out? What is it? And he said that they were closing early because people are coming in with masks, so they don't know if someone's gonna like try and like stick them up for the money or whatever.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, In his
It's a real
defense,
concern if you're in a neighborhood that's a little sketchy and
in
you've
his
been
defense,
robbed before.
I am right across the street from like Detroit, which
How
I
many
don't
people
think
are
anything
being
is weird
racially
about that.
profiled for that?
But it does have a like lower security
Socioeconomic status, of course.
comparatively to Ferndale, and the one that we're in is in Ferndale, so he's scared that those people are gonna come over here, and I'm like, literally
Those
come here every
people-
fucking day. They're literally, well, I'm just repeating what he
No,
said.
I know. I'm just kidding with you, Lauren.
Lindsay,
but I know,
Lindsay, go
but,
over
like,
there and protest them. I want to see
I'm
Lindsay
telling
protesting
him,
outside the
and
store.
I'm going to the BLM sign.
Well, I told him, I was like, you're talking about just the other side of this street that we're on, and like the people over there have been coming over here this entire fucking time. You're like a block.
Supporting you.
You're literally a block away. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, well, people come in, they wear masks.
And
None
you're
of these
also
places are doing that.
you're
None of
also
those-
talking about those people who are hit the hardest by COVID.
Girl, listen, her and I, we go there every time that we go in. We have our podcast.
Oh, and the guy has no beer. It's shitty anyways.
It's a shitty place, and the guy doesn't wear a mask.
No,
you know that.
you're right. And the girl doesn't wear a mask either.
And the girl doesn't wear a mask. Well, none of
Why are
the
you
people
shopping
that
there?
work there wear
Right.
a mask. It's literally at the end of my fucking street. And
That's
it's,
why, because of the convenience.
Proximity.
when I went in there and he said that to me, I was like, I can never come here again because
No.
this is how you talk to
Right.
me. Like
Those people.
people from across the street. I'm like, regardless of if they're on this side of the street or they're that side of the street, it doesn't fucking matter.
And you should
Hey,
be
listen,
wearing a
They're not
mask.
any different.
Listen, fuck them. Let's put them on blast. What's their name? Don't go shopping there.
I don't
Tell
even
them.
know the name. It's just a corner market.
Right.
Corner
It's like, I
market.
don't even know the name of it because it's
I
just
literally do
a
not.
shady ass liquor store on the corner of the street.
Yeah, on
don't
the
shop.
corner of
That's it.
Livernois and Fielding.
I was like, yeah. Hey, Lauren, why don't you go ahead and give all of the viewers and listeners an exact landmark to be better able to find you in
Right?
real life.
Like,
and
yeah.
avoid
come
this
talk to you.
place. They
do
don't
not
wear
want to be
masks.
like
They're obviously racist fucks. Like,
that
screw
goddamn
them,
dime
man.
trick. It's that dime trick.
Yeah, you're happy to make all that money selling liquor in the hood, but
Right,
you're scared of the
right.
hood too. Fuck you.
And then that's
But
the
you're-
thing though, is that Lindsay and I have started going to another liquor store down the street,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's further away, but I don't care because
But
I'd
those
rather
guys
give my
don't wear
business
masks
to
either,
somebody
do
that
they?
isn't a racist, Trump supporting asshole.
Do they wear masks?
Oh, at that one? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
I don't even
Do
think
they?
they do.
Here's the thing: like, if you're that worried
Even
about
if
it,
they
dude,
don't, it's better than the guy that said the people from
Those
across the
people.
street.
yeah, those people.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Listen, if you're that worried about it, just solve two birds with one stone. Put bulletproof glass in. That way, nobody can rob you, and you're protected. You know,
Right.
like
There
no
you
need to
no,
wear a mask.
Remy, like seriously, like if
Boom.
you're that concerned and you don't want to wear a mask, put in the plexiglass, put in the
Put it-
bulletproof,
put in the
like
bulletproof
whatever.
glass. Yeah.
Do it.
I got no problem with that.
I
I don't
agree.
mind shopping
And
in a
that's the
place
thing.
that's got bulletproof glass. So like, all
they
right,
didn't
cool.
do any of that
Never
there
done it in
at
a
that
million
one
times.
that we've been going to. Like, there's no plexiglass in that one that we used to go to.
No.
And then I think you and I stopped going there like 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
So
I'm
screw
lucky.
those
I've got
people.
I've got-
I'm gonna find out the name of it and I'll post it.
Yes, post that up there. Make sure
I
people
will.
know where not to go. I'm gonna
I
give
know
a
there's
shout
a
out to
market.
my favorite. I'm gonna give a shout out to my favorite liquor store real quick. And I've been there so many times, but I always University Party Shop. Universal Party Shop on DeQuinder near 12 Mile. Great place. He's got plexiglass up. They've always got masks. Great selection of spirits and wines and beers. They've got everything. They're super friendly, super nice. They've got like the little X's. And he even shut down for a while because his family was like, we don't want you being open to the public when it was real bad. He's like, we shut down for a couple of weeks. We felt like it was time to get back to work, so we did. But we've got the plexiglass, and they've got like cases of water so that you don't stand too close to them. Always wearing a mask, and super friendly people. So yeah, go check out Universal Party Shop on DeQuinder, and just in between 12 and 11 Mile. On DeQuinder in Madison Heights. If you're in the area, great people. Boom, we plug our friends.
Hooray!
Or also, like, Metro Times has been posting really great things of, like, here's to support, like, a Black-owned business, and they will list, like, a bunch of coffee shops that are Black-owned that aren't Starbucks, or a bunch of restaurants that are Black owned in the Metro Detroit area. So go search that
Go to
out.
those places.
Yeah, go search that out. Go support those places. That's a definite.
100%.
Agreed.
Where has the time gone?
I know. I feel like it's just running by here.
That's how it's supposed to work.
It is. It is supposed to just fly on by.
When Remy's not telling me to shut up.
Well, listen, I realize that coronaviruses happen in nature, and that this coronavirus.
Remy, we're not getting into
natural.
this.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna make my point. But the way
We're not getting into this.
The way that this one started is because scientists in Wuhan were fucking with shit, and they let it out. That's what happened.
Dude, they already proved that wasn't true. It came from a pangolin. It came from a pangolin.
Hold on.
It came from a pangolin.
I actually have to halfway back up Remy on this one. So, like, one of the things that Fred has said, and this is the infectious disease guy, is so they've traced almost everything back to, you know, the fresh meat markets in around Wuhan.
Yes.
However, there is enough there are some odd things about the coronavirus, where one of the things that lab in Wuhan was working on is an HIV vaccine. There are enough things in there that there are people still looking into whether or not there might have been an oops, but they're like 80 to 90% sure it wasn't an oops.
But it's not 100% proven. And listen, here's my whole point. My whole point is that, yes, I realize that coronaviruses are all natural occurring and stuff like that. They have found something in COVID-19 that they have not been able to identify in nature yet.
Oh, no, they've identified it all.
Viruses are always evolving. But anyways, but I was under the circumstance that it came from a pangolin because China's big into, like, the exotic animal trade. So
the running joke was that all the countries in the world eventually got coronavirus. China just got it right off the bat. Boom. That was
right off.
Because that's.
Did you guys watch? Hold on, real quick. This is gonna go back to Trash Pandas a little bit. Did you guys watch the pandemic documentary on Netflix?
No.
Oh
no,
my
I did,
God, watch it. It is so good.
It was right at the very beginning of this, like when it came out.
It came out right before the COVID shit happened in the world. And it is so interesting because, sorry, those are my dogs. But one of the interesting things was the infectious disease specialist that was studying the next pandemic knew that it was going to come from China. Like, they knew it. All their money was on, like, this is where the next pandemic's coming from, is China.
Oh, yeah.
And they had him going to those markets in China. They had him studying all of those things in China. But if you guys are bored and you want to watch something that'll blow your mind, watch the pandemic documentary on Netflix. Like, it's so good, but it's so crazy. Like, how they knew it was coming. They knew it was coming.
Well, so and here's why I'm okay with, like, kind of defending Remy, because I get into these ever since I read The Stand for the very first time when I was, like, I don't know, 12. I have been, like, every now and then I get obsessed with just how we're going to end ourselves as a species. Because that's how it's going to happen. It's not going to be an asteroid. It's going to be something we do to ourselves.
It's scientists trying to, like, find a cure for something, and then they whoops-a-daisy, fuck up, and release this toxic thing, and it spreads and kills everybody.
You guys watch too many 80s films.
Honestly, so that was one of the things. No, so, like, one of the things we talked about with Fred the last time he was on was, like, that's part of their concern when they're doing all these antibody tests, like, you know, they're getting all these donations of, like, antibodies and serum and all that stuff from people. They have to be really, really careful, and it's only, like, I think it's what they call a PEC 4 lab. Like, the one in Wuhan is a PEC 3 lab, but it's a PEC 4 lab that they can do these tests in, because by introducing the antibodies into these live virus cultures, they are potentially making them stronger and resistant. And so they have to be very, very careful that when they do this shit, nothing gets out.
Right.
Lauren, does that remind you of The Great with Queen
No, listen, Lindsay, my whole point with this was not to say that like it's some evil mad scientist who's like, "Whoa, I'm going to destroy humanity." No,
$1 million.
It was well-meaning scientists who were like, "Oh shit, we didn't do that correctly," and
I mean, I can understand that take if that's what your take is, but
that's
like
100%
from
what my take
99% of the takes I've seen on it being a man-made thing is not that. It's like the Chinese government wants to kill everybody and like blah 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 blah. Like that's the shit they're peddling. Now, Remy, I understand what you're saying. Like it was an accident and it got out of control and like whatever. Okay, maybe I can run with that. But I can't run with like it's this huge conspiracy of the Chinese government trying to kill everybody.
I don't think
I feel like that's
nefarious
racist.
people
I mean,
in
at
charge
the end of the
being
day.
puppet master. And also I love you, and I said to shut the fuck up with like all the love in my heart.
Oh my God.
You cannot offend me. It's okay.
Good.
It's
awesome.
okay.
Shut the fuck up with all the love and respect.
You can just say
respect. I said with all due respect.
Shut the fuck up.
Dude, I think with all due respect is one of the greatest. Like I think that's the
best.
That's the normal person equivalent that like because like lawyers have withdrawn. Like lawyers have this superpower where they can be like, Your Honor, I'd like to point out that my opposing counsel bangs goats in his free time and molests children and likes to hold pagan rituals and light animals on fire. Oh,
objection.
And it withdrawn, and then it never happened.
Withdrawn.
So like it's that's like the free pass card. Like when you say with all due respect, you know what follows that is not going to be respectful.
No, absolutely not. That's why it's like, no offense, but so you mean all offense taken?
Yeah, no
all
offense intended, taken. And with all due respect,
right?
No offense. I adore you, and I don't really want you to shut the fuck up. It was a fun conversation.
I have not put you on like the blacklist for the Me Too movement yet.
Good. It was that awesome. Thank you. Well, and also, I mean,
you're not canceled, Remy.
You're not canceled yet.
Everything is fine.
I will watch every week.
Fine. We're gonna be just fine. Everybody, just have a cup of coffee. This will all be over in the morning. Trust me.
A cup of coffee. I'm having another glass of wine.
It's sitting on the table.
Maybe, I mean, a cup of coffee with, Bailey's, tequila, whatever else in it.
Yeah.
It's fine. This is fine.
It's fine. This is fine. We're good.
Got what you're saying.
One more shot for all the bartenders out there who are still going to work
and all the nurses and doctors on the front line.
All the nurses and doctors.
Definitely.
All the grocery store workers.
Oh, yes.
Everybody. Like, people who are working jobs with the public right now, we salute you. I'm sorry.
Dude, because the public's
I wish everybody was
stupid.
cool. I wish everybody would wear a mask and just be smart, but
just remember,
me too.
If and when this all ends,
piece of shit.
Yeah, if and when this all ends, remember, it wasn't an athlete, it wasn't an actor or actress, it wasn't anybody else that helped you maintain your day-to-day life. It was the people that were essential workers that you make fun of every goddamn day and want to bitch at and want to Karen at. That's who kept this world going.
Right. Start paying them more.
And the people, and the people that aren't paid enough. There you go, Remy. There you go. That's the main thing.
100%. Hey,
people that live in poverty.
Lauren, tell them where to send their stories if they've got something to say to Tales from the Barside.
All right. Per usual. First, let's do a shot. Shot.
Cheers.
Everyone keeps asking for shots. Okay. Also, if you have a cool story, funny story, whatever the fuck kind of story about your time working and hanging out at, being part of, having friends that work in the service industry, get a hold of us. Send us your stories at barsidetales@gmail.com.
We want your emails, and if you send us if you send us nude pictures, that's cool too. Like, we don't mind that.
Yeah, we'll take Vagine.
We will.
We'll take pics of Bob's and Vagine.
I mean, you're on the Me Too list. I already told you.
Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on again. We really appreciate you, darling.
We love you, Lindsay.
We love you. We love all of our fans too. Like the millions and millions of Tales from the Barside fans that are out there.
The millions
of tuning in tonight.
Millions.
We will see you guys next week. Mwah.
Adios.